So big news in my life. I just published a book and the final version will come out August 4th. And if you go out and you want to get a copy of the book, August 4th through 18th, you can get a copy of the book on Amazon. There you can get it in an ebook or an audiobook. The ebook is 99 cents from the 4th through the 18th. And then if you come to our website and let us know, we will send you a free audiobook as well. And you can find the actual final produced book right here, Origination Boost, right on Amazon. And I hope you check it out. It's more than just a book about loan officers. It's more of a story about how I've overcome many things in my life to win the day. And I hope that you find value in it. It's an easy read, and I hope you go check us out on Amazon. And I'd be honored if you'd share this with your friends. Hi, I'm Mandy Feely Swain, and this is another episode of Origination Boost podcast. Today, my guest is Joe Wilson with Social Coach, and he is here to share all the goodness about social media. So if you've been waiting to get the insight about social media, he's the guy to go to. So tell us a little bit about your background and how you got into this job career and what you see coming in the future. I think that's what loan officers are going to be excited to hear about.
Yeah, definitely. And thanks so much for having me on. So I've been in the mortgage and mortgage technology business for the last 20 plus years. I started out as a loan officer, quickly transitioned, actually after about 5 years, to the technology side. So worked for companies like Ellie Mae, was the CRO at Simple Nexus, and then about 6 years ago, founded this company, Social Coach, because we found, starting bunch of years ago, the need for loan officers to really be on social media and make sure that it is compliant at the same time it was super important. So that's kind of how this. Yeah, I mean, it sounds super boring, but when you look at, we now have over 10,000 loan officers on this platform across 60 plus different companies, and rolling this out at the enterprise level. There needs to be that control over what you say and how you say it, but you don't want to get in the way of loan officers being able to say what they want to say at the same time. Because, if there's anything that I've learned, it's that people are so reticent to get on social media to begin with. Anytime you put a blocker or a funnel or anything in front of them to prevent them in the slightest, they're just going to throw their hands up and say, we don't want to do this. So trying to make that as simple and easy as possible to allow more people to see the benefits of social media, where we now see, across the board, loan officers are getting about anywhere from 10 to 30% of their business directly from social media on average. Now, the more you use it, obviously, the better you're going to get, but that's about the average.
Yeah, I find it fascinating because I'm one of those people that was in that group that you said, barriers to entry, anything that it's like one of those things, like, I know I have to do it, but it's not my most favorite thing, right? And we are our own worst critics when it comes to video. We're our own worst critics when it comes to the sound of our own voices. So for me, for a while, I just couldn't even watch the videos. I was like, okay, I'm doing this, but I'm not in love. And but I do love Social Coach because it makes it very easy, right? I can read a teleprompter on my phone very quickly, and I can just literally hit the button and it goes, and it comes back and it makes me look good. And if I miss something, I just kind of scroll back to that paragraph and you guys edit it out, and it makes it easy for me. And again, that compliance piece, right? I'm in 40 states as a licensed loan officer. And so being able to have that assurance that the content I'm putting out is compliant is key in the scheme of things, right? That's the bummer of probably mortgage, is the compliance side of it, but it's real and it's alive and it's out there. And so I've really enjoyed that part of it. So tell me on what you've seen with loan officers and how are they getting into social media? I mean, which ones are really winning? Because I think that there's a difference between just being on social and doing a few videos and then winning on social, right?
Yeah, there's not just a little difference. There's a dramatic difference to it. And I think you kind of hit it on it just a second ago and saying, it's something that a lot of people feel like they need to do. And I feel like that's the biggest deterrent to being a successful loan officer on social media today. And it's treating it like a marketing tactic that it's on my list of things to do. Today, I'm going to go pick up my coffee. I'm going to take my dog to the groomer, and I'm going to get my social media done. And that's just it, right? That's a social media marketing perspective, where I think the loan officers that really differ are people that treat it like a sales tactic, right? So I'm not doing my social media. I'm doing a social selling strategy, right? So when I was an officer, 20 years ago, I had my manager, I was just getting the business, and my manager's like, all right, here's your list of sales tactics that you're going to do every day, right? And this is, a really long time ago. And so it was like, I literally was handed a yellow book or yellow pages and was like,
yellow pages.
Yeah, just start dialing, Joe. You'll figure it out as it goes along. Yeah, and that was the tactic, right? And so I would just like, all right, let me just open it up, start dialing, and I didn't even know mortgage had a T in it, right? But but we figured it out as we went along, and then that evolved into I developed relationships with realtors. I would bring them donuts in the morning. I would take people out to lunch. We would go golfing. We would do all these different things. And those were my sales tactics I would do. And I had my list of things I wanted to do every single week. Now, what I'm seeing the really successful loan officers that are treating social media like a sales tactic is they're realizing this is where all my referral partners are. This is where my potential borrowers are. Here's where I can go to build a online resume of myself that will show my past clients having experiences with me educating consumers online, so that when a potential consumer is being referred to me, they look me up on Instagram or Facebook or whatever, they can see that I know my stuff. And that's part of what it really is. So it's consistently thinking about, where do I need to be to reach the most people and educate the most people, that the decision to work with me becomes no brainer.
Yeah. Are you seeing people that are actually lead capturing on social, or is it more a validation of the work product you put out, doing all those other things, right? You're doing all those other sales strategies, not necessarily the yellow pages anymore, the white pages, but you're doing all these social strategies, and then people are looking for validation of how, if you're a quality person, if you know your stuff, all of those things from social media. How are successful loan officers really ring the bell with social media? I guess what's the secret sauce, right?
Yeah, what are the tactics that work specifically that can help capture business? I think that's a great question. So a lot of people are looking and trying to figure out, like, what's my ROI? How do I like capture a lead? How can I say this is a loan that came directly from social media? And that's really difficult to do, right? And like, what's the one thing I need to do that's going to get people to convert to say apply now, right? Let me push that button and apply now. What is that thing? And there's a couple of really good answers to this, and none of them are really what you want to hear, probably.
It's fine. I'm used to non-sexy things in the mortgage space, right? Mostly we do the non-sexy things, and that's what wins the day. So I'm very used to being told that you have to do the things that you'd be surprised about, or the things that are the easiest, but kind of eat the frog. I don't know.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Yeah, and I think the biggest indicator for success when we look at the data, right? And so we do, again, across 10,000 loan officers, you can start to develop some trends and see what's going on there. And the big thing that we're seeing is loan officers that really embrace consistently posting videos. Okay, that's the hardest one. But if you can, whatever consistency means to you, if that's 1 time a week, if that's 2 times a month, probably that's a little light. But if you can do 1 video a month or a week, excuse me, or better if you could do 2 videos a week and just show up. I don't even care how polished you look, what you're talking about, whatever it is, show up, put 2 videos out a week. Make a plan, work with your marketing team. You're lucky to work with such great, you have a great marketing team. I know it helps out so much.
I do. They're awesome.
They're incredible, and they help you out with different script ideas and things like that. But just show up consistently 2 times a week on video. And if you do that for a period of time, let's call it, 3-6 months, you're going to start seeing a lot of business start to come from there. So that's kind of the basis for it. Now, there's a couple other things that you probably should be doing that will show you that you're actually getting these loans from social media. And this is where I think most people kind of break the trend here. What is actually being successful? Number one is having some kind of link in your bio on Instagram. Most business we're seeing is coming from Instagram and or Facebook, excuse me. And so having a link that goes to a landing page that is simple enough for people to navigate. So whether that's using a simple like Linktree landing page experience, like Social Coach has one. I think you guys are using it there, called Player Cards. It's like a virtual business card. You can have as many links on there as you want, and having an apply now link on there that actually will capture that business when people are interested from looking at your videos or being referred by a realtor, and using that as the start of entry point to your ecosystem, right? So I want someone to come in and then get my newsletter or, apply now, or just that I have their name and email. I can start reaching out to them and being part of my whole marketing ecosystem. So getting people in that top of funnel, I think, is really important. But then the really, I think the biggest thing is inside of your CRM or inside of your LOS, having a field in there before it gets to processing that says, was this a social assisted loan?
Yeah.
Did they at least talk? Did they say they came from social media? They saw my video. They, what was it? There was ask that question. Say, hey, did you happen to see any of my videos or look at me online or anything like that? And when we ask that question, we start to get some answers about where these people actually came from, because there might be multiple things that we do as loan officers that drive new business, but we want to see, is my social activity actually driving traffic in a meaningful way? So if we don't ask that question, we're not going to know the answer. This person might have come from a referral. The realtor called me up, said, hey, Mandy, or hey, Joe, like, I got this new lead for you, right? And they sent them, but they found you online. They mentioned it to the realtor, and that's why they referred you back. Because the realtor or the other referral source wants to take that credit for it, right? But the borrower's going to tell you the real story. They saw I've seen your videos for the last couple months, and I've been wanting to work with you. So I'm so excited that my realtor referred you to me, right? That's what we need to start tracking. And then when you see those trends, you see, wow, gosh, 20, 30, 40, 50% of my business has seen me online. That means that it's working.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, you hit on two topics that I could not agree more on. Is consistency is everything, right? Like if you start and stop, that's when you lose momentum, I think. That's when and that's in any part of any business, right? I mean, if you're selling hamburgers and you stop selling hamburgers, you're going to lose customers, and then you're going to have to build the customer base back up to start selling hamburgers again. I mean, it can be any business, but the start stop is real. And so that consistency, and that's what I've done in the last year and a half, is I really committed to being on social. I really committed to being present. And it's funny, I went and I had a necklace that my husband had given me and it needed fixed. I went to get the class fixed, and they said, oh my gosh, you are everywhere. I see you everywhere. And I thought, I am not everywhere. Like, I am home in my UGG slippers, but that perception became reality, right? I'm posting on social enough that they're like, wow, you're really out there. And it was a good thing, it wasn't perceived negatively. And I thought, wow, so those little seeds that you plant every week, and it does take time to build that effort, I think. It can't be just, you're not going to see like, you're going to post 4 times in a month and that's it. You're just ringing the bell. I don't think it's like that. I think this is the long game in a business plan. I think you're going to still have to have those nuggets in an LO's business that are getting you business right away, those realtor relationships, the builder relationships, your database calls. But I do think it's fantastic. And what I've heard is happening is, being able to follow around your database on social media, or your geofencing an area that you want to market. I think that that's kind of the next level. And since you've been in the tech space for 15 years, I'm kind of interested in what you see coming on that side of things.
Yeah, that's great. And I love your point on consistency. That's the number one indicator for success in literally anything, right?
Yes,
in
anything.
your relationships and your gym workouts and,
yes.
But yeah, it is. And I love that people recognize you in a spot that you wouldn't even expected it to have happened.
Oh,
And
it
that
was
happens
like, wow.
all the time, right? And that's the power of socials. Like, you don't get to control who sees your message, right? And you might be reaching out, you might be seeing that seed being planted, like you said, that, hey, maybe that person who was repairing your necklace has a friend who's buying a house.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh yeah, then they connect that point there, right? That's amazing. But yeah, from a technological standpoint, I think there's so many really interesting things that we're seeing that and we're working on right now. But I can't share all of them with you. But one thing that I think is really powerful is one thing that you nailed on, and that is really looking at your entire database and how are you communicating with them. Right. When we look at social media, we think of social selling. How are we communicating with borrowers in the way that they, and realtors really, and other referral sources, in the way that they prefer to be communicated with? When was the last time you read through all of your emails? I mean, really. And now I'm getting so many text messages every day that, like, I'm terrible. I don't think I respond to all my text messages every day anymore. And it's actually kind of bad. And I really should probably fix that. But there's other ways to communicate via DMs, via messaging somebody directly in their comment section. And I think that following your more people from your database of clients and referral sources and making meaningful comments and likes and engagement with their content is something that's really, really powerful. Most people focus on creating content, not necessarily engaging with others' content, right? And that's I think one of the special sauce. I spend probably 30 minutes a day just engaging with other people's content. So people I want to do business with. So other, different CMOs or leaders of these mortgage companies, different loan officers. So if I'm a loan officer, I should be engaging with realtors, with builders, with lawyers, with people in my community that I think could potentially be home buyers or sellers or refinancers in the next 30, 60, 90 days. But
yeah, share on your story their most recent listing, because they're going to see that you shared it when they look at their feed, right? They're going to see that in their updates.
Yeah, make a simple, reshare their content in your story. Ask a question in their comments about when they post an open house. Ask a question. Hey, something simple and kind of off the wall, even, I think really works. Like, what type of countertops are those in the kitchen? Or something that's gonna get them to, like, help promote that house. Or like, oh my gosh, that pool in the backyard it looks like a resort. I want to go hang out there for the weekend, right? Like, ask a question, find a commonality, or give them a compliment about themselves or their listing, and that will go so much farther. When people do that to me, I get excited. I can't believe that someone's actually spent the time to leave a meaningful comment on my content. That doesn't happen every day. And so I think you can do that to somebody else. That will help them remember you. And in this game, that's the biggest thing is I need everybody to remember me at that point when it becomes important to them, right? For a potential borrower, I don't care if you think about me all the time. I just want you to think about me when you're thinking about refinancing or buying a home, right? When a realtor, I don't care if you think about me all day long, just when there's a referral, someone that you have that you want to work with, right? But they need to remember you. And the way they're going to remember you is consistently showing up in their feed or engaging with their content.
Yeah, I think that is really true. And we're so data overloaded, right? But like you said, so many emails, right? You wake up in the morning and you've got junk emails, or you've signed up for, you bought stuff at Christmas time and now you're on all these emails, right? Dick's Sporting Goods and Macy's or whatever. And you've got this flood of content coming your way. And then in your text messages, now you've signed up for all these text messages to get all the alerts, and you don't even know sometimes that you've signed up for them. So you're getting all those. And then in addition to that, you're getting overloaded with social media as well. So I love the idea of commenting, because that is engagement in backward, right? That's like opposite of putting out there. You're contributing. And I do think that is a great way to get noticed. Two things I want to talk about is there a better time to post? Like, I've heard all different ideas of like when is the best time to post, but for me, one of the first things I do in the morning is I kind of wake up, I have my tea, I turn on CNBC to kind of see how the market's doing. And then I check and I kind of do my email check in the morning. And then I'm do my social media. And so maybe for me to catch me, morning is better. And I've heard like some people are like, no, if you put it like 4 or 5 in the morning, then a lot of those morning people are going to get it. Or nope, you want to put it after 5. Or I've heard many things. And so in the 10,000 loan officers that you're seeing, is there like a time? I mean, what's the advice?
Yeah, that's the question I get almost daily, and our team gets daily, and it's because everyone wants. Okay, I'll do it, Joe. I promise. If you tell me 10 a.m., I'm gonna post 10 a.m. on Tuesday,
Yeah.
because we're all so like that's like we want to make the most of our content, and it's so that's such a great and earnest question. The unfortunate answer is that there really is no right time to post. The algorithms that the social media platforms have now are going to surface up the content that you post to the right people whenever they log in, because everyone's on their own time frame. If you would have asked me this question like 3 or 4 years ago, I would have told you like 9-10 a.m. on a weekday, but also 4 or 5 o'clock on a weekday, because then it's like people are after work or whatever. But it really doesn't matter. But with the big asterisks. And the big thing though is you want to kind of hit a time when you think that there will be a lot of people on. So I do think the morning and the evening are good. And the reason for that is what happens when you post a video or you post a reel or an image or whatever you post. What Instagram and Facebook and the other platforms do is they test it. So they throw it out to a bunch of people, to a bunch of your followers, to a bunch of non-followers right at that moment, right there. So depending on how the first couple people interact with your content will determine how much more they start to show it to more people. So that first hour, even the first 15 minutes is super critical. So what most people recommend is if you are on, after you post, stay on that platform. And if you get any likes or any comments, go respond to those comments immediately. If there's any likes, go on and find who liked you and go to their last post and like it back, or comment on something there. So then maybe they'll comment on yours, because the more comments or the more shares you get, that equals the best possibility for your actual post to go higher on the engagement scale.
Good. I love that. And that's another reason to share your referral partners content as well, so that maybe they will share yours, and reciprocity is alive and well that way. So follow-up question to that is, are you seeing successful LOs spend money when they're posting certain content to elevate that content, right?
Oh, to boost the content?
Uh-huh.
I haven't heard of any people have a lot of success with boosting content. And I'm sure there are people who have, and I just haven't heard very many of those stories. I think organic content is going to get you the best. If you're posting good content, you are going to get those organic views no matter what. If you're posting bad content and you want to get more views on bad content, go ahead and boost it. There's a time and place for that, especially if you have something like an event that you want people to come to. You're trying to get people to click on a downloadable asset or something like that. I think putting some money behind it is an okay strategy. But I think for most loan officers, doing organic, meaning unpaid strategy, is probably the best. Just that consistency of posting, and it will develop over time. It's not that instant success. So if you're looking for an instant response, you want people to sign up for something, or maybe try to get people to like apply who are currently looking for a loan, then maybe a paid strategy is better than an organic strategy.
Yeah. So of all these videos, I'm sure you've watched tons of great videos and tons of okay videos and tons of not okay videos. And some of them you've seen just hit harder. And I think that's always the question. I'm always trying to be very professional. And then on the flip side, they're like, man, you can put a baseball cap on, walk down your sidewalk, and it's okay to do that. And I'm like, that seems so foreign to me, because I've been in the mortgage space 30 years, and it's just been, to me, it's a very much serious profession. I mean, you're helping people with the biggest investment they'll ever make. And I just feel weird doing it. But many loan officers I've talked to that are very successful on social are just them. I mean, it could be their kids are running crazy in the back, or they've just can't come off a run and they're sweaty and hot, and they do this video and it really hits with people. What is that? Just the humanness of social? Or I mean, because I struggle with that. Like Candace, you know, I adore Candace, and she's like, Mandy, just do a quick one and just don't worry, you know, just put it right in your face and just do it. I'm like, I have a hard time with that. So I mean, thought process on that, like
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah, absolutely. I think you're expressing something that most people feel, and that's like I need to look professional and be professional because I'm dealing with people's biggest transaction of their entire life, and
Yeah.
I totally value that. And you need to be professional, but I think and it's not about how you look. Because you could, I mean, you look phenomenal, right? And it's like that's who you are, and it's just like you're put together. You wrote a book. Look at this Origination Boost. You need to read that book. We need to order it. I'm sure on
Yes,
Amazon or something.
yes, I thank you, because I told Candace, I said, I promise I will remind everyone, August 4th is the official launch of the book. It's officially being published on August 4th. And yes, in my life bingo card, I did not think I'd be writing this book, but it is really more than just for originators. It's just it has lots of sales tips in it and just mindset shifts that you can have in your life. We really love amazing humans that just happen to be really good at home loans. So the book is just about how to be even a more amazing human, and some of the struggles I've gone through and powered through to, you know, in my 30-year career in the mortgage space. So yes, thank you, Joe, for reminding everyone August 4th, the book comes out. That was a perfect segue. But anyway, yes,
Yeah.
back to what people are putting on social. Like I'm very engaged if they're just kind of a hot mess, honestly. I mean, not a smoke show, but a hot mess. And I think that, you know, I guess it goes either way, but I find that I'm engaged with that, right? I'm engaged with the humanness of it.
Yeah, and I think that's exactly it. It's the humanness of it, but it's less about how you look or how you're acting or what's in the background and more about the story. That's the human level that we want to connect with. And it's about, so when I dissect and we look at the data on, okay, what's the makeup of these successful videos? It's the story, it's the hook. How did you start the story? And what captured that person's interest? Because you have less than a second now to capture their interest. So it has to be like super interesting right at the beginning. You can't start with, hi, Joe Wilson here. It's like, oh, you already lost me.
Done.
I'm scrolling.
Scroll past. Yeah.
Moved on, right?
Yeah.
It's more of like, I just got this person approved that I never thought would happen. Okay.
Yeah, declined to closed. I mean, let's do that, right? I mean, that's how long we have. I think that that's so true. I used to think the psychological, I was reading about it, and psychologically, I think people had 3 seconds. Now we're down to 1 second. Oh my goodness sakes. Like, you may have to have something wild to start to get them to engage and stay with you for 30 seconds.
Yeah, but I mean, you've got great stories. Every loan officer has them, right? We all have amazing stories of turnaround experiences about the loans. I think things that I see are really successful. Talking about loan scenarios that actually happened, or not even just like crazy ones, but just like I had this borrower that had a $500,000 budget. We ended up getting them, I partnered with so-and-so realtor. They found this amazing house in Laguna Hills and whatever, yada, yada, yada. But like talking about those scenarios, that's because that's what people can connect with. Right? What is it that's something that is connecting with me because I have that same scenario. Right. Okay. Right. Now I know Candace can help me. I'm sorry, Candace. Megan.
Well, Candace will help you with your marketing, and then I'll help you with the loan.
Anybody,
It'll
right?
Be perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mandy can help me because she described exactly my situation, right? And so that's stuff that's really helpful, right? Or stories that about your career or your personal story. That's stuff people can connect with as well. Now, obviously make sure it's like important, like it's helpful to the conversation, but how did you struggle and how did you overcome those struggles? Make yourself human and connectable, right? Especially in the world where everything is turning into AI slop, where everyone's putting in there, oh, give me 50 different ideas of top reels, right, that I can do as a loan officer. Okay, well, guess what? That's the average. That's like all AI is giving you, all ChatGPT and Claude is just giving you the average of everything else that everyone's already talked about.
Right.
But you are unique. You have something that is different than everybody else. And what is that? What is the thing that's unique about you that sets you apart? Lean into that. Lean into what makes you you and the scenarios that you're putting out there. That's going to set you apart. Not having more content about the same thing everyone else is talking about. The thing that's going to make them want to work with you specifically. That's what you really want to lean into. That's what's going to get people interested to want to stay and follow you long term.
Yeah, that's fantastic advice, because I think that a lot of times that loan officers are just trying to find what the right thing to say is. And maybe the right thing to say is, I helped a family last week that didn't think they could get a home, and they ended up thinking that they needed to buy farther out, and have this long commute. But with seller concessions, I was able to get them a lower interest rate. Or maybe people are freaked out by rates right now because they're the high, doom and gloom, the highest they've been since 25. Oh dear, dear goodness, they're the highest they've been since 25. What does that really mean, friends? It's like an 8% in rate, but people that are just watching the news don't know that. Yeah. They might have went from, I want to buy, but rates are, higher than they've been, so I'm going to hold off. We can dispel that myth really by putting truth facts out there of, hey, they may be higher, but like an 8th in rate. And so it's $33 in your payment, friends. Yeah. Like, can you skip Starbucks? Let's go get you a house and get the dog a new backyard. So I think that sometimes just being real, like people are with their clients, and being your authentic self, because I do find sometimes on social, I see these folks and then I see them in person. I'm like, these are two different people. Who they are on social and then who they are in person, very different. And so I do think that you have to be true to who you are on social, right? And sometimes, and not everybody's going to like you either. And you got to get okay with it. You got to get.
Well, guess what? They already don't like you, so whatever.
Yeah,
it's fine.
Yeah, I just think that sometimes we get so nervous to be judged that's probably why LOs don't get engaged on social, right? Yeah. But not everybody's watching. You only have 1 second to capture their attention, friends. So they may not watch the whole thing anyway.
It's funny. I think one of my favorite loan officers that I follow is a guy out of Utah. His name's Adam West, and he talks all about zero sugar sodas and breakfast burritos. And and among mortgage content, but that's I know him as the zero sugar and burrito guy. But he's always showing up. He's showing up consistently, and that's just what he likes. But he's also a mountain biker. He's the top loan officer at his company in Utah. There's so many great things that I know about him because he posts videos consistently. I
love that he loves zero sugar, and I love that he loves burritos. We will get along fine. I love that so much.
Who doesn't, right?
Yeah. That's so fantastic. I've seen LOs that are love sports, and they just kind of lean into that, and then talk about that. Talk about mortgage in addition to sports, and people that love sports are going to follow along. Maybe that's a good advice. To kind of wrap up the segment is just. Be you, find something of interest to you so you can relate to other humans, and they will watch your content because they want to watch you because they relate to you, right?
Yep, exactly.
So apparently Joe relates to zero sugar and burritos. And I feel you on that. I like that a lot.
That is what I relate to. Yeah, unfortunately, but that's good.
So should loan officers be constantly, we get this question, AI, or should we be freaked out about it, or how should we leverage it so that we can be better on social media in closing?
Yeah, I think this is the penultimate question in today's world, because it's so enticing to think I can create all my content and have it all done for me, lickety split with, this one prompt on ChatGPT is going to change my world. Right. And it's not going to, it's not going to do anything for you. What those AI platforms can do for you is help you process what it is that you want to say, help you find ideas about yourself that maybe you haven't thought about, or help you find different angles, or help you clarify what you're trying to say. But use that big old brain of yours is my perspective. Just like we were talking about for the last couple of minutes, The thing that's going to make people connect with you is you. It's not what AI says is you. That type of content you're seeing all the time and you're scrolling past it and it's not helpful. So yes, is a shortcut to creating more content, but it's a shortcut to creating content that no one's going to watch. And please, for the love of all things that are good and holy, do not create an AI avatar and like put a script in there and have it be you, because people will know it's not AI. I feel like we are getting so good at snuffing out what is real and what is not real in today's world. And in fact, not only are we as humans being good at that, but the social media platforms are also getting really good at that. And they are, Adam Mosseri, who's the head of Instagram, went on record. He did this just the other day he does these like Ask Me Anything and just like these long stories. I think it's like on Mondays or Wednesdays. I can't remember what day it is, but got asked that question, like, what are you doing with AI generated content? And his response was, and again, this is the head of Instagram, said, we are actively like downgrading that content. So we're not showing that as often as real organic content, real stuff that is by humans. And so just think about that. If you're looking for more engagement, more people to see your content, it's not about putting more content out there quickly. It's about putting content that's real and who you are, to being authentic.
Yeah, I love that. And I love that, the human connection is alive and real. And that's why I believe in my heart that loan officers don't, in a future world of AI, don't go away because they can't have this. There's no visceral connection to a computer, right? There's no understanding how important the home loan is and how important home and security is. A computer can't have that kind of empathy and can't have the guidance that a loan officer can provide. So in my mind, we leverage it to help us, and we can't be naive that it's coming and it's part of the new world, but we need to learn to leverage it so that we can be better and more efficient at our jobs. But I just don't think that the human connection can be found in a computer. So I do think that advice of just being your real self, and I love that Adam, the guy in Utah you said, is just real and he kind of just shares who he is. And that is never going to change. And that is always going to be, and as AI and as that kind of fake world becomes more real, I think that the authentic realness of humanity will be even more important on social media.
100% agree. That's great. Well, hey, we agree. Let's go get some burritos and
let's do it. Yeah. Thanks, Joe. Have an awesome day. Thanks for being part of Origination Boost podcast.
Yeah, thanks. You too. Appreciate it.